you sure? So be it.
This is where the fun begins.
Did you miss me?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to CAF Chat. Today's going to be a special one, and this is CAF Chat briefing. So we're going to go shorter than the normal 2 hours, probably within an hour, catching you up on full speed on what the channel's doing this month, discussing some lore, and chatting it up a little bit here in the chat with you guys. So thank you for being here. If you're a first-time subscriber, please hit the like button, share on your social media, and consider becoming a member. If you're catching the replay, feel free to leave me a comment and discuss anything that we are talking here so that I can reply and have a chat with you on the other side of this live stream. So I see everybody's hopping in. Good morning to you. And as always, what's in your mug? What are you enjoying this morning, this afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world today? So welcome, welcome, welcome. In May, basically May is Star Wars month. May is the month that we seen a lot of publications that happened after Star Wars started really getting into the EU and giving people comics, novels, and what have you. And then also, of course, May 25th, when Star Wars was first introduced to us through George Lucas and his brilliance. Excuse me, I'm not on screen today because I have a little bit of allergies, and so I'm giving my eyes a break from, getting myself dolled up to be on screen here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start seeing who's in the chat here. Good morning to you all. And I just have James Unchained here, who is here. And you guys, I don't celebrate this May the 4th here. So I know some of you guys do, so that's cool, but I don't. But thank you for the greeting as well. And also, I have a poll up before I move on and say hello to everybody else. I have a poll going on here, and this goes out through all the movies that has space battles. So what is your favorite space battle? OG movies only. So 1 through 6. So I have Yavin, Endor, and Battle of Coruscant. So if you haven't voted yet, please get your vote in. Yavin 4 is 38%, and that's in A New Hope, if you didn't know. Endor obviously is in Return of the Jedi, and that's at 15%. And Battle of Coruscant is at 46%, and that is in Revenge of the Sith, the opening scene. And so that one is leading. I think that was one of George's best works when it came to these battles. However, like with the other two, he did use a lot of, CGI wasn't prominent back then. And so he did use a lot of like minis and, still shots and all that. So that was brilliant in itself when he did do that. So that was brilliant. So get your vote in. And we do have Mr. George Lucas here. Hello. How are you doing? And then let's see here. Geek Detective Pierce. Morning. How are you doing this morning? And what's in your mug? And I'm holding, basically, if you see the little avatar on this corner of my screen, I'm holding my mug has that logo, that little piece of art that I did. And then let's see here. And then Trace. Hey, what's up, Trace? Long time no see, and a channel member here. And I am going to here by Monday, for all the channel members, I am going to put up a poll, or I'm going to put up a discussion that I need all of you guys to answer, on what is a good day to do our watch party of the Clone Wars '03. So we're going to attempt that one more time. Um, so I want to do it sometimes this month, but I want to make it a time where we all can be there together. So stay tuned for that. By Monday, I'll have that up in the members chat for you guys to answer and see if we can come to a single day conclusion on meeting up and watching together and discussing together. That's what it's all about. And then Soul Assassins here, smash that like button and consider becoming a channel member. Yes, thank you so much. And let's see who else. Preston is here. Happy Star Wars Day, OG. True Star Wars, not the Disney crap. Star Wars Day is the 25th. The anonymous gamer says, good morning. Happy May the 4th. Hello. Drink a cold glass of milk at the moment, or drinking a cold glass of milk. What's the EU topic of discussion today? So the topics basically is A New Hope, and I'm going to throw out some questions for discussion here. But we are also discussing the one and only Mace Windu. No, it's not A New Hope or OG OT stuff, but that's one I wanted to discuss last week, and I totally forgot about that. So the one and only Mace Windu, I will bring that up as a topic here, and we'll discuss that. Let's see here. Yavin was the most dramatic space battle. Coruscant was too cluttered, excuse me, and all the drama in the throne room drowned out the space battle. So we have our little analytical piece from Tuscan Bob. Thank you so much for giving us. And, he's true. Yavin was a clean cut, like the drama of it all and the suspense of it all. You can kind of hear my allergies or whatever in my voice, but was focused on that. So the drama, all of that was just centralized focus on the battle there and destroying the Death Star. So yeah, that's a good point right there. I mean, that's a good point. Whether it changes your mind or not, it's just something to think about, like considering the scenes and what's going on and stuff. So, but everybody will have their own choice, their own views. Soul Assassin says, just brewed a fresh batch of tea. Oh, that sounds good. I should drink some tea after I'm done here. Oh yeah, and check out my merch. Thank you so much. I keep on forgetting to really sponsor my merch. So if you like that little avatar that's up in the corner there, and among other stuff that I've done, either Star Wars related or not. Well, this is Redbubble, so this is Star Wars stuff. And you like my art, go ahead and check out the merch. You can get a coffee mug, you can get a backpack, poster, shirt, cell phone case. It has the Mace Windu and Ventress. Holy shit. And yeah, so check that out. If you do pick up some merch, tag me in it. Share it on Twitter and tag me in it. I would love to see that. And let's see here. Preston says, I chose Battle Yavin because I thought it was a tricky question. Oh, you thought I was trying to trick you guys up because it said OG means I thought original only. OG, well, all six movies is original. Yeah, the original. And so that's what that is. So sorry for confusing you. And Little Blobby's here. Hey, I don't think I've seen you here before. Welcome. Good on you getting rid of Orange Hat reviews. Guy claims, I am not going to get into this discussion, and we'll leave it at that. Yeah. Yeah, so let's see here. At OG Stars, my mug is filled with black CAF 2 sugars. Oh, sounds good. Mine is black as well. And I have a little capful of sugar-free sweetener there. And that's it. That's it. Battle over Coruscant all the way then. Awesome. Let's see here. And I'm going to go check that there. I'm sorry I didn't see that, but that's fine. I'm sorry. I'll try spinning. That's a good trick. And let's see here. Only Mace Windu's, and I didn't really do that battle above Naboo. I debated on that because the focus was more or less the battle of um between Maul and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. So I didn't really use that one. And let's stay away from the topic, little blobby. Yes. Okay. So getting through the comments here. So as for A New Hope, so this week, leading up to CAF Chat next week, where we're gonna have a full version of CAF Chat. I'm gonna pull this up right here. So May 1st through 11th for our OG Star Wars channel here is Star Wars A New Hope. So whether I do a quick video here throughout the week, or I share something on Twitter, or both, the topic's going to be about A New Hope, whether it is about the movie itself or production, or even George Lucas, speaking or quoting or saying something about that. It's all about A New Hope this week. Yavin 4 is basically, a part of A New Hope, as we know. So, and then May 12th through the 18th is Empire Strikes Back. So during that time frame, we'll switch gears and go into the middle movie of the trilogy, or the sequel, and we'll discuss all topics related, lore, development or whatever. And for the CAF Chat during that time, that will be the topic, but we'll have cringe factor. So full versions of CAF Chat will be cringe factor. Today, we're not going to do cringe factor. So that's the difference. May 19th through the 25th, Return of the Jedi. And the 25th falls on a Thursday, so CAF Chat. And I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do CAF Chat in the morning or do an evening stream, since it's the 25th. And the 25th is the anniversary of when Star Wars came out. And there was quite a few of the George's movies, with the exception of one or two, I believe, that came out on the 25th. So I'm going to decide that. I'm thinking of cosplaying, so stay tuned for that. And dressing up, I guess you could say. So don't know if it's going to be morning or evening, so I will announce that. And then May 26th to the 31st is George Lucas. We'll discuss some George Lucas stuff. Of course, PT, giving that honor to the PT, and Expanded Universe. And Expanded Universe is what helped keep the interest in Star Wars, especially those fans that really wanted to know what happened after Return of the Jedi, and also leading up to the prequel trilogy and beyond. So can't leave that out. We can't leave the Expanded Universe out. So the May 26th or the 31st will be the focus on those three topics together. And then I am planning a special live stream, bringing on a few guests. I don't like large panels, so it's going to be very distinctively planned, and with certain guests and stuff, I guess you could say. And we'll discuss all things Star Wars, including like how we got into it, go through the movies a little bit, leading into the PT, talking about George Lucas, all that. So so stay tuned for those announcements on the CAF Chat on the 25th, and then the coming live stream at the end of the month. Yeah, so this is basically the topics. So anything right now, A New Hope or Star Wars, because it was originally called Star Wars. A New Hope, it was changed to New Hope later when they started, adding the episodic numbers and stuff between the trilogies, between the trilogies. Yeah, so let me see what you guys have to say. I'm going to return back the chat. Let's see here. What if Disney remade the original trilogy and just said the original trilogy is Legends? Then they could they're doing whatever they want right now. So that's something that they're doing now. They like I said many times before, they tossed the EU for creative freedom, and now they're building material media that is making people change their view on and how they see George's 6 movies. But we're not going to really get into that. Let's celebrate Star Wars. To this month for the channel, it's Star Wars Appreciation Month. So let's get into that, okay? Let's see here. Revenge of the Sith space battle was amazing, but still love Endor. Oh, awesome. And welcome. Yeah, the Naboo space battle was C-plot. That's why I really didn't showcase it, because the main one was basically what we see with the battle on Naboo between the Sith and the Jedi, really. So yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and check out the poll here. So if you're coming in, please vote. And then you can even leave a comment about why you like that space battle. But what is your favorite space battle? OG movies only. So OG means 1 through 6. Yavin 4, which is in Star Wars A New Hope, has 41%. So that switched. We have a switch. And Endor still is going steady with the 3rd place and 23%. And Battle of Coruscant is 36%. So we're seeing a little switch here. Little switcheroo here. So I will leave this up for another 15 minutes. So those who are joining in, please get your vote in. And Matt G is here. What's up, Matt G? Cheers to you. And then James Unchained, aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? And this is going to go perfectly into what I'm going to ask. Okay, so thinking about your first experience with seeing A New Hope, or Star Wars A New Hope, whether you've seen it on the big screen or not, that doesn't matter. It's about how you felt about that. So when you first seen the movie, whether I'm not going to ask you what your age was, but let's say, what character stood out for you after you watched it? And you're like sitting there thinking about like, damn, this was different, and I really like this, or whatever your emotion or how you felt about that. Who was your favorite character? Who really stood out for you, and why? And usually, we have our 3 protagonists that work together, that helped each other out, that carried on. But who really stood out for you for A New Hope? So go ahead and share in the comments. I'm going to go ahead and do a banner stream for that question as well. So who stood out for you between characters? And it doesn't have to be the main 3. And why? So I want to hear this. I want to hear from you in the chat. Who stood out for you, and let's see here, and why? There we go. There you go. So please, and I'm going to go through the questions here, or through the answers here. Let's see here. Don't need to remake the originals. They're already changing the context with the garbage they are making, correct. Let's see here. And let's see here. I prefer Battle of Coruscant personally. Also, longest continuous shot in cinema at the time. And then I agree. And then Porkins was the best. Okay, Soul Assassin. So let me know why. Why was Porkins the best? Why was Porkins the best? And so I'll go back. Let me go ahead and take this down here. So the question, who stood out for you between characters? And this, I'm going to ask another question here. I just want to know, and why? And why? Watching Star Wars A New Hope. Now, as I'm waiting for you guys to answer, I'm just going to share some facts, and then we're going to switch gears here pretty soon and talk about Mace Windu. All right. So I'm going to share a little bit of facts here with you guys regarding some dates that led up to the release of A New Hope. And so May 1st, 1997, James Earl Jones arrived at Goldwyn Studios to record lines for Darth Vader in a single 2.5-hour session. So imagine going in, being called in because, of your voice. It sounds so powerful. You got that baritone, that deep, haunting voice. and going in to record and getting it taken care of within 2.5 hours, like recording all of that. And this is for A New Hope, and creating such a memorable presence just with the voice alone. Not only the suit and the actor too, who created the stature, the and stuff, and but also the voice. It took a lot of people to bring out Vader as one of the most iconic villains in film history. And James Earl Jones, his voice, we can always hear it in our head when we think about Vader, right? So his voice made it so iconic. And then so in order to give a Vader a more mechanical sound designer Ben Burt first attempted to add beep and clicks to the sounds of Vader's suit moving. It was decided that this would be too distracting, and it was abandoned in favor of a closely mic'd scuba breathing regulator to add the familiar breathing sounds. So just imagine trying to make it sound authentic with that, because Vader's suit is not armor. I've seen people mistaken Vader's suit as being armor with some ridiculous comments, and I'm not going to get into that. It's basically it's basically like a life support suit, right? Imagine that, being the most feared villain, but you're in a life support suit, but still can bring fear. And that goes into like how Vader's helmet, his mask, and all that was made to look like some ancient Sith of the past and stuff. And how it's dark and brooding and all that, and then just hearing the breathing and stuff like that. It just, all of this technique that was brought in to make Vader a convincing villain paid off. I'm going to see what you guys are saying in the chat right now before I move on with this. Paid off. Let's see here. Okay, so no, Soul Assassin, Wade was the best. Rest in peace, Wade. We're talking about OG stuff here, but I get your sentiment. Porkins was the first one to go out Soul Assassin. Mostly got into Star Wars as a kid through the 90s special edition release on VHS of the OT. I definitely appreciate the prequels as a kid, especially in the post-Disney Star Wars era. That's amazing, Anonymous. And, we all have our entry point, basically, of when we got into Star Wars. I began with the OT too. I began with the OT first. However, I didn't see the very first one in the movies. I seen it on VHS at home, which set us up to go to the drive-in theaters to watch Empire Strikes Back. That was fun. Drive-in theaters are amazing, you guys. Like, I don't know, like where I live at, we have no more. But if you guys do still have drive-in theaters where you live at, I say go support them. If you're still watching movies, if you're supporting Hollywood and stuff, go support them. I am not, but sometimes drive-in theaters will also do refilming of past classics from the 80s and 90s. So check out your local drive-in theaters, see if they do rescreenings of past movies, and go support them. Trace XL says, Wedge Antilles will always be the man for me when it comes to the X-Wing squadrons. I loved his name as a kid, and he had the team's back during the battle. He did. He was a secondary character, but he stood out. And those who love Wedge Antilles, I'm like, get into the EU because you'll get more story from him, like the original EU. And you'll find out why he joined the rebellion, and is very different than what Disney did with that character. And you'll appreciate him even more. even more. And I highly recommend the X-Wing series. I do. I've always said that. Let me see. Did you see my question? I'm just wondering where all original theatric versions fall into the EU George Lucas canon. They're still the movies. They're still the movies. I'm sorry if I didn't see it, but they're still the Star Wars movies. It's just now everybody has a preference between the originals and all that versus the special edition and all that. And that's something to maybe we can discuss next Thursday, because this Thursday and next Thursday we're still going to talk about Star Wars: A New Hope, but then maybe we'll kind of segue in next Thursday's to discuss a little bit more into Empire Strikes Back, because I wasn't sure I was going to stream today because I have family here. I left that option open for next CAF chat. So with that being said, maybe we can discuss that next Thursday when we have more time. That would be fun. And maybe that would be my question up there. What do you prefer? And maybe I'll have all the versions that are out there in that poll. Maybe. We'll see. Lady of Iron, welcome, welcome, welcome. OG, just a question for you. What other Star Wars YouTubers would you like to talk to that loves the EU and George? I love talking with Matt Wilkins. He's another one. I talked with, there's a few of them. Like I've did some Talking EU interviews. And Magnino or Alex is one of them I like to discuss with, who has it's like for his age, he's like the upcoming generation. He has some impeccable knowledge of the Star Wars lore as well. So there's a few of them. Maybe I'll share a list of recommendations on who to go by and visit. I'm going to check the poll before, and then we'll go back to the topic of Darth Vader. So if you're coming in, get your vote in. But here's the standings, and we got 3 more minutes. So maybe by the time I'm done reading here, I'm going to end it. What is your favorite space battle? Yavin 4 is at 36 and is tied with Battle of Coruscant. So we have a tie. So I'll leave it up a little longer. And then Endor is at 28%. I think people loved more or less the throne room scene with Luke and Vader and Palpatine rather than the space battle there. So, but I'm just going off of assumptions, I guess you could say. Okay. And best place to learn about Vader's suit in EU novel Dark Lord: Rise of Darth Vader. I agree. Vader's suit is a portable iron lung, correct. But just imagine, like I said, when I was giving you guys that information about Vader, and maybe we'll share a lot of stuff about Vader today, like on Twitter. So if you follow me on the YouTube, my YouTube community, Twitter community, basically, share something about Vader. What you like about him. What were your favorite memories of him if you got into the EU and you have more experience with him through the EU? And maybe it can just be with the movies and how he caught your eye and made you feel, so anything all Vader today. So let's discuss that in the Twitter YouTube community page. I will also post something here on the YouTube community page here on the platform so that you can get involved with that and discuss and share. Maybe you have a fun fact that you want to share with us about Vader, like whether his development of his character or something in the EU or movies or whatever. Share that. So I'm encouraging more, get more into researching, learning, sharing, and all that when it comes to the lore, and getting involved in the community with each other on topics like that. Little Blobby says, would there's a bunch of different versions of A New Hope between theatrical, Laserdisc? Yeah, there's different versions and stuff, and I'm not going to fully get into that right now. Darth Vader, you are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away. I'm sorry, I can't do the voice. Yes, but this right here. Let's see here. The Falcon was a character all its own. She may not look like much, but she's got got it where it counts. Good point. They did turn, they did make the Falcon as its own character because of the love that Han Solo had with his ship, with his vessel, right? And you see that with people who collect cars, who build them up, like whether it's hot rods or whatever, or low riders. People do, take a lot of pride and passion with that sort of stuff, with their vehicles and stuff like that. Um, and so that's a good point right there. Thank you, James. And let's see here. Um, Ever heard Vader's original voice from David Prowse? Thank God. Yes. I was watching behind the scenes developments, and this is before they brought in James Earl Jones to record. Yeah. Thank God. They never used that. It would have made Vader sound absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, his voice wasn't menacing, but his acting made it the way made it like his presence just stood out. Yeah, just stood out. So let me see if that um changed here. All right, you guys. So we do have a tie here. So I'm going to let it go for another 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So if you're coming in, go vote for your favorite space battle. Let me see here. Started with the OT, saw them on the network television for the first time with each, then VHS later. I went to the theater for all 3 PT films and saw Revenge of the Sith 3 times, enjoyed them as now. That's amazing, Trace. I mean, that's the beautiful experience of it. And then no matter if you just stayed the movie casual and just stayed within the movie lore, or you got curious and went into the EU, it's all a personal experience, Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So let's go and check the polls one more time. I don't want to leave them tied. So again, Yavin 4, 36%. And Battle of Coruscant, 36%. And Endor is at 28. So if you're tuning in, please get a vote in and such. So with that, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to start moving on to Mace Windu. I think I'm just going to leave it one question here since we're having fun just with the single question. And like I said, this is a briefing. This is going to be a short CAF chat. So I'm like, hey, let's call it CAF briefing or CAF chat briefing. So if there's times that I do need to shorten the time frame, then that's a great way to do that. Wedge is the best wingman. He was he was basically one of the leaders. And fun fact is that, and I'm going to bring this topic up later, but Wedge and Luke both created the Rogue Squadron, so they're co-creators. They became close, and so that's another development that we see with Wedge Antilles when it comes to his character. So we'll go on here. Trace XL says, I have been meaning to delve much further into the Squadron books and games because the space war aspect never gets quite enough love for me in the franchise. I agree. And that's why I got into the X-Wing series. Is because it gave us a little bit more it really put us into the war, I guess you can say, without having, the Jedi and stuff there. And mind you, I don't mind that. But we get to see the everyday common man, I guess you can say, fighting tyranny and stuff like that. So yeah, and we'll discuss that as we go along, especially when we get to the last week of the month, 26th or the 31st. We'll get more into that. And, maybe I'll ask my panels to recommend, like, what do they recommend if they got into the EU or not. So those who did, I'll ask them to recommend, and so that you guys can have a clear idea of maybe where you want to start, what have you. But as we go along this month, it'll all develop in its own with this what I'm doing here. What day is it? What do you mean? And let's see here. We do need a Porkins spin-off series. Somehow Porkins survived. Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. Let's see here. And Trace XL, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Visually, I prefer the PT space battles because I love the look of total war that's going on with fleet on fleet and skirmishes and space battle aspects was always my favorite thing about Star Wars. Ah, thank you so much for the super chat. I hear you. It's such an amazing, fun thing. It's all fun. I mean, everybody has their own experience and what they want to see and all of that. And yeah, let's see here. So the topic here, let me go ahead and just make it the big screen. Wrong one. Why aren't you filling the screen like I need you to? Oh, here we go. There we go. So switching gears now, and I'm going to take a look here. Did we break the tie? No, we did not. Okay, I'm going to keep it up probably till the end or near the end. So this is the topic I wanted to get into when it came to our last week's CAF chat, and I totally just spaced it off. No pun intended. But it's Mace motherfucking Windu. So I know everybody loves Mace Windu for whatever I wouldn't say whatever reason, because he was such a unique character, and George Lucas never really brought in too many like high profile actors. So he's one of the exceptions to the rule, I guess you can say, if there's a rule. And he really brought out this unique character. And so we're switching gears, going from A New Hope all the way to the PT, and that's fine. So I still wanted to cover this no matter what. So wanted to cover what he had to say. But first of all, as we switch gears, I'm going to share something with you. You guys may have seen it in the beginning of the opening of CAF chat. So let's see here. But this was shared with me, and I just want to share it with you guys here.
Are you sure? So be it.
Now, that's from Dark Empire. That's fan made. And I thought that was pretty cool. And so now it's going to forever be on my clips here. So I may share this, off and on whenever I go live and stuff. But those who don't know, that's Dark Empire. And that was the return of Palpatine as a clone that was brought in, of course, back in 94, I believe, around the same time as Heir to the Empire. And, comic series came out of that. And I know all the talk about like how it didn't make sense after the PT and stuff, and I'm not going to get into that really here right now. But I thought that was very interesting. And one interesting aspects of Dark Empire for me was the fact that Luke went in to try to defeat Palpatine on the inside and learn about the dark side from the inside, which didn't fare well for him. And maybe one day we will have a full Dark Empire chat. Not full, but I will add it as a topic. Because, we have a lot to debate and discuss about. Like, we all have our own point of views. Well, with everything, that's a given. That's a take. But particularly with that, especially when they brought out Rise of Palpatine. Now it's going to be something that we're all going to analyze even more. Thank you again. Thank you, CJH Entertainment, for the Canadian $5.50. Not enough people talk about the prequel era novels like Jedi Apprentice or Boba Fett books. Yeah, so a lot of PT era, like in those aspects, aren't discussed as much. So let's get into, speaking of PT, let's get into this. So this is from the famous Starlog 337 that people use to share that George didn't consider the EU canon. I am not getting into that topic because I already did a video, talked about it on CAF chat, I believe. But anyways, I did a video on it. And so we're not going to get into that. But we do have this article here, this interview here from Samuel L. Jackson. And look at that purple lightsaber. Amazing. Amazing stuff. And that was the first introduction that it's not, his lightsabers are not always going to be red, green, or blue. Making his character unique. No, it does not mean it's gray. And Sith Assassin Trail is here. Hello, how are you doing? I see you. It doesn't mean that he's gray or whatsoever. But there's an interesting discussion because I remember like a couple of years ago, people were like, oh, Mace Windu didn't die. We didn't see a body, so that doesn't mean he's dead. And then, of course, Samuel is like, is there a way that Mace could have survived? And George's like, maybe, because George does crazy shit, right? George always has contradicted himself. His company has had to go back and clean up some of that mess from comments and stuff that he said that were misinterpreted. We know that if anything, if the evidence presents itself, George is not consistent with himself. So, death of a Jedi. It's no secret that Windu is among those wiped out, but at least he goes down swinging against the mighty Darth Sidious. And May says, I've seen first one, A New Hope, so I know there were only 3 Jedi left. Oh, imagine that. He's seen A New Hope, and he came to the conclusion that there are only 3 Jedi left. Amazing how he understood right away. So I was kind of like, all right, there are a lot of Jedi now. That means by the time we get to episode 3, we've got to be gone. I was just hoping I didn't die in episode 2. So imagine that. Someone that may not have been deep into the Star Wars lore. Usually actors aren't, even if they play a character in a franchise. They probably don't get into it as deep as like us fans. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But he watched A New Hope and came to that conclusion, which many people not came to that conclusion. It's amazing. It's amazing. As for Revenge of the Sith, Jackson liked what he saw of Windu and his presence in the film. All of the stuff that I shot in the movies, Samuel says, excuse me, woo, excuse-moi. Nothing is on the floor, but George kept calling me back. We filmed Revenge of the Sith 2.5, almost 3 years ago. And I went back 6 times to do reshoots, enhancement shots, or whatever. We kept adding more and more, and all of my material is in the picture. One thing that they kept recording, and then they changed last minute, was Mace's duel with the Emperor, or with Palpatine. So that's even seen behind the scenes. So if you're not familiar with it, they have behind the scenes footage and stuff. And so that's one of the things that he went back to record. Excuse me. I even had to go back and sort of redo the death scene because George didn't like it. George didn't think it was long enough. So he had to go back and reshoot his death scene. So just think. The key word, death scene. They had to go back and reshoot his death scene. So that means he did die. That was the intention. That was the intention. Long enough? Well, and that's the question. Well, I was kind of there like, and then out the window. So Sam was like, I just go out the window? What? And then, so he clarifies, George was like, no, stay in there. My death scene is cool. Actually, Samuel says, I could have ended the saga. I'm still a bad mother, but I had Sidious. I had him. So, basically he understood like that between him and Sidious, he could have held his own. Acting the Star Wars prequels has been a dream come true for Jackson. The actor is a longtime sci-fi aficionado, as well as a Star Wars fan. And Jackson, as he discussed, is in Starlog 262, flat out lobbied Lucas for a role and any role in the second trio of adventures. So imagine that having a, you know, big time actor who loves sci-fi, wants to get into the to the movies, you know, kind of like promoted himself, lobbied himself to George Lucas to be in the movie. Imagine if he didn't do that. What would the movies be if he didn't present himself um, to be in Star Wars, the PT? Imagine the PT, how maybe different it would have been, like a different actor, all of that. I love science fiction, says Jackson, whose other genre credits include The Exorcist 3, Jurassic Park, Sphere, and Unbreakable. He continues, I read science fiction. I read comic books all the time. I read comics book all the time, with which is what got me interested in these particular films. The first Star Wars was like a comic book world put on screen that no one had ever seen before. And so so that's Mace, that is Samuel L. Jackson. I wanted to share this last CAF chat, but he has some great points. You know, his interest in sci-fi and stuff, you know, steered him towards George Lucas and wanting to be in his movie. Just imagine that. George always says maybe. We'll see. Return of the Senate. What I missed? Nothing. We're talking about Jackson. We were talking about a new hope. A new hope. My voice. Listen to that. I'm losing my voice. Holy crap. And CJH says, I don't understand Dark Empire because it doesn't it kind of undo Vader's sacrifice. We'll get more into that later. We'll get in more into that later in that topic. Let's see here. If Samuel L. Jackson wants a purple lightsaber, you give him a purple lightsaber. I remember Lucas planned on having Boba Fett kill Mace in episode 3, but scrapped it. I believe I vaguely remember that. So that's something that once we get towards the PT this month, I'll bring that up. We'll talk about that more too. That would have been better. Let me see here. He did fall down a chasm, though. And you got to realize, too, that on Coruscant, there are so many levels, like thousands of levels. Like, they don't, like, there's no ground really anymore. So you have the underworld. And so the ending will eventually happen if you fall down either a building, a walkway, or what have you. But or if you ever reach the bottom, that's a hell of a fall. But there are still a little bit of like small man-made like oceans or lakes or whatever on Coruscant if you want to get into the structure of Coruscant. And then like the mountain peaks are still there in some areas. So I'm not just discussing like what was seen in Mandalorian. No. But yeah, there's still some little bit of remnants of the planet, but majority of the planet that you see on Coruscant, like this big cityscape, is man-made. Become Mace Windu, good to go. Becoming Mace Windu, yeah, thank you so much. Preston says Tupac was supposed to be Mace Windu. Thank God he didn't. Rest in peace, though. I heard rumors about that. I never researched that. I don't think George was looking at Tupac to be him. I don't know. I will research that a little bit more. If there's evidence, share that link here. Like I said, I didn't research that at all. I like Samuel L. Jackson in the in the prequels, out of all the roles he's done. Even Tarantino film he is in, he plays the same character. He has kind of the same mentality in a lot of them, like, with his character. But I think he does play each role from each movie pretty well. But that's just me. The best PT Jedi is Sagi. Okay, let me go ahead and check the poll here. All right, so I'm going to end the poll now. We do have the tiebreaker. So this should be sharing with you guys here now. So Battle of Coruscant is at 42%. so second place. Yavin is at 30, and Endor is at 20. Or actually, Battle of Coruscant's first. Sorry, Yavin second at 30, and then Endor at 27. So last. Let's see here. And George, that was a big Star Wars star. What are you doing? Let's see. OG, take a spoon of honey and lemon for your throat. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have some tea with honey and stuff. Hello, Dominic. How you doing? We're gonna get ready to close CAF chat here now. I'm gonna go over the schedule with you guys one more time. Yeah, so this is CAF chat briefing. So it's a shorter show, no cringe factor, no in-depth lore talk. So very, very to the topic here. And there may be more of these on days where I need to be going somewhere or doing something, and I still want to host this to keep this going and not pausing or canceling a program. So you may get full CAF chat, or you may get CAF chat briefing. Trace Excel says Coruscant is so built out that there are kilometers deep canyons lined with buildings you can fall through. Correct. Coruscant, such a crazy developmental type planet. Coruscant would make a great CAF chat. And the world is crazy. Mutant giant worms and the criminal underworld. Yeah, there's so many different species, like threatening species. And, I would love to just talk about that, and the species that developed and the dangers that developed and adapted to the planet over the years, over the millennial. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a great point there. So yeah, so Mace Windu, one of the beloved characters, thought I'd share this since I forgot to do it last Thursday. So I'm going to start closing here, but let's go over the schedule one more time, and so that you guys know what's going on for the channel this month. Everything's going to remain relatively the same, but these are the topics that we're going to expand on more, talk about more. Cringe factor will still remain the same when we have CAF chat. So May 1st through the 11th, so from now until next Thursday, Star Wars A New Hope. May 12th to the 18th, Empire Strikes Back. May 19th to the 25th, Return of the Jedi. And May 26th to the 31st, George Lucas, PT, Expanded Universe. So those topics, we may expand more on one thing than the other. And then, of course, the 25th, which falls on a Thursday, which is the actual Star Wars day. Just putting it out here. 25th is the actual Star Wars day. That's when Star Wars was given to us, like A New Hope, or Star Wars, A New Hope. So I'm going to stay tuned for that. It may be a CAF chat or maybe in the evening time. We'll see. And I'm thinking of cosplaying. So stay tuned for that. I have to check that out, see if I could pull it off. And then, of course, a special live stream at the end of the month. Stay tuned for that with some guests. And yeah, so this week, Star Wars A New Hope. Feel free to share, tag me in, any lore surrounding Star Wars A New Hope, conversation, character development, whatever. Maybe how it brought you into the Star Wars franchise, because usually Star Wars A New Hope, not always, but usually, is the one thing that got everybody into Star Wars. Some people, it was the PT. But this is what's going on. Star Wars Appreciation Month for the channel, and also on my social media, which is Twitter. So there you go. So all thing Star Wars A New Hope. Cosplay, you say? The imagination goes all over the place. Let's see. There was a super star destroyer buried on Coruscant, the Lusankia. OG sent you a short about Tupac. Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, because like I said, I never researched it. I just heard like speculations, and I'm just kind of left it alone. So that would be interesting to talk about later on too. Is all that. So exactly, George thought I didn't do big stars laugh out. Well, MJ wanted to be in it too. All right. So thank you guys again for tuning in. And I will see you guys next Thursday. Stay tuned for like maybe short clips for the channel, discussion topics for both here in the community and then on Twitter community page as well. And you guys have a great Thursday, and I shall see you around on social media. You have a good day.
I have fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure if this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.
And remember, share topics about Darth Vader today on Twitter, social media, tag me in it, come to the community and discuss Darth Vader as well.
Another happy landing.